Hello,
Hello. All right.
I'm
This is
Renee.
good.
Yeah, this is better. Okay, I'm
Yeah.
Renee.
I am Kyrie, and this is episode 4 of Hear Us Out.
hmm
And
We want to say thank you for subscribing.
mhm,
We want to also thank you for listening,
yeah,
and we
more than anything.
yeah, more than anything, yes. And we also want to say thank you for those who have also commented and I guess have been interested and intrigued by some of the things that we have discussed, on the show. And of course, it is Hear Us Out. And so, try to be patient, with us so that, we can get all of our, try to get our thoughts across as, um, as smoothly as possible,
Yeah.
especially on these topics that are, I guess you could say, are they're relevant, maybe even controversial, but in any case, we want to say thank you.
Yeah.
And so, episode 4, well, I
Well,
guess.
in this episode, we deal with the elephant in the room.
Yes.
The one thing that we've been talking around ever since we just started this discussion with Afrocentricity.
Right.
And that is white people,
Yes.
white people,
Yes.
and how do they relate to everything that we have been talking about and what we do, especially how we are saying we need to approach our predicament and our situation.
Right.
This episode happened. It's kind of a spur of the moment type
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Or because originally in this episode we were going to talk about government
Right.
and systems of power and the practical application of such ideals, but in the course of
Our many conversations, I guess.
well, in the course of that
Yeah.
conversation, in the course of really trying to hash out what is it a government is supposed to do and how it goes about its business, it kind of careened into a conversation about white people
Right.
and the systems they make, because it's kind of intrinsically connected to the systems that we all live in. And
And yeah, and so I think I'll just start with the.
I think that it's a our discussion about these things got a bit heated, I would say.
Well, I won't say heated, but I would say emotional. I think it's probably the only time that it brings out that kind of emotion
Yeah,
in me.
but I would say heated because like there was at some point where we were both like were yelling at each other.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
I remember distinctly screaming, "I don't care!"
right.
Like I don't care.
I don't
I
care.
don't care.
Right.
But I think that it's fair to say that I don't want to say the idea, but
What I was gonna say, I mean, because we're talking, we're conversing, we're clear it up.
the
Yeah.
idea of white people, and how they relate to us is one that is central to any discussion about, black oppression and the black identity and what do we do now?
Right.
What do we do now is kind of just a synonym of how do we deal with white people.
In a nutshell, yes.
Yeah.
And what I would tell you is that we have had, our great scholars, from I would say Chancellor Williams in particular, who has said that we have to understand that in anything that we do, if we keep in mind, basically what he said is that white people are our bitter enemies. I think is the words that he used. And so when you are working from that,
Yeah.
okay, when you're working from, whatever it is that we do and perceive and think and build or whatever, that, however you want to put it, that we are working from, the understanding that white people are our bitter enemy.
Mm.
then how is it that we can move? How is it that we can build? Or are we actually moving and building and challenging ourselves, you know, just because, of white people? It seems as if the answer has been, or that the answer becomes, if we do not deal with them with the kind of viciousness,
Vigor.
vigor,
Mm.
you know, that they have dealt with us, then it's then we can't. I'm using "can't" in quotation marks here. That we can't build, we can't
Yeah.
move, we can't do the things that we need to do because of, quote unquote, the bitter enemy, which
Yeah.
is white people. So, I'll say, yesterday, oh, anytime we pretty much discuss it, it sort of comes around, to that, but then we always tend to move.
Well,
We're not always, but
I mean,
we
yeah, pretty much every single time it
Yeah.
comes down to that.
hmm
It ends up being more a reflection of us than it is of white people.
okay.
Every single time, and I think that's the same for us saying that white people are our bitter enemies.
Mhm.
They are the oppression,
hmm
right?
hmm
And the only way we are going to be able to deal with, our oppression, the only way we're going to be able to come out of this is by dealing with them,
Right.
and that type of mindset has always been problematic with me,
hmm
as I'm sure anyone could tell who's listened to,
Right.
my opinions about, Afrocentricity and power and all these things,
Mhm.
that I'm not comfortable with the idea that, oh, it's the white man.
hmm
I remember when we first started, and we were talking about racism and where all this comes from. And in our first conversation, I said, it has to be something else.
hmm
It has to be something else. And I
Yeah.
remember being like,
No,
no, it doesn't have to be.
that's right.
Racism comes from exactly where it tells you it's from.
hmm
I think that I am more of a human, that I am more of a person, just more,
hmm
because I am white and you are black,
hmm
right?
hmm
You are black, that makes me better than you.
Right.
And that type of mindset, that type of mindset has been how we've defined white people.
hmm
As those who carry that mindset,
Yes.
as the racist, as the hater, the one who oppresses.
hmm
And throughout my entire life,
hmm
I can count on one hand the number of times that I have dealt with racism that way, like as being presented that way, like twice maybe throughout my entire life. Granted, I haven't been alive very long, but
Right.
still,
Right. Okay.
But
See, I think the what we would say is that is an avenue that you should not have ever had to deal with at all. And so I think it's why that angst exists the way that it does. Because we feel that we should not have to deal with that from anyone, but since we're talking about particularly white people, we should not have to deal with that, with your psychosis, with your hatred, with your understanding we should not have to deal with that. And once you all, decided to, I guess, impose your will on other peoples, other lands, animals, whatever the case may be, it's when, we won't say the first problems occurred, but the way that you all went about things. I'm just telling you, that's, we should not.
This is the part of the conversation
that gets
on my nerves.
Right. But I'm only expressing it now. I'm only expressing it so that you can.
I know.
I'm just saying, particularly the audience will understand where it comes from.
You're expressing it. It doesn't matter. Exactly why. I'm just saying this is always the part of the conversation that drives me up a wall.
Right.
Well,
I'm at a better place now. Yesterday I was all over the place, but I'm at a better place now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The thing, that it's like I said, that we need to change how we're having this conversation.
Yeah.
Like, it always makes me upset when black people create a monolith. Or, in other terms, when we deal in absolutes. Right? We say focus, we need to know what we're dealing with, but then we, go on to make these grand unilateral statements.
Well, that's because
about white people.
Right. And I think it deals with the idea of, racism is not an individual act. Okay? It is a national, thing. And so when you're working from that kind of mindset, that racism is not these individual things. It's a global phenomenon, basically. That's what you're working from. So I know that for many of us, we find it extremely difficult to look at racism as individual acts.
And like I said, the group and the individual are one and the same.
Correct.
Right?
Okay.
The group is nothing but individuals.
Right.
If you're saying that you have a hard time discerning,
well, no, I'm just telling you what's out there. What's
I'm not saying you. I'm just addressing that mindset.
Yes.
If you're saying that you are having a hard time being able to discern the actions of the individuals from the action of the group, then what you're telling me basically is that you can't see the group.
Okay.
You have a hard time just discerning action, period. You're not really seeing what's happening. And for people who have suffered under the weight of absolutes, of us being pigeonholed into being just one thing, just this, right? We are here to be their slaves.
Right.
We are just essentially cattle. All these things. We have suffered under the brunt of that. And we today are still living with the fallout of that absolute.
Right.
So why is it then that we then create absolutes and deal in absolutes and then say that, well, it's the white man and that it's them, all of them, it's y'all. When y'all created this and when y'all propagated this and when y'all conquered and y'all came out and did all this stuff, and it's like, that's not what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's not what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And you're telling me that you don't want to get to what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to get to the actual work.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to get to the point where we can actually solve things, because you don't want something else.
Mm-hmm.
You just want to blame the white man.
Mm-hmm.
That's not to say that the white man is blameless,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But those are two different statements,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
You want to blame the white man.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, the white man has, as a monolith,
Mm-hmm.
as a group,
Mm-hmm.
they haven't been the thing that has vexed me my entire life.
Right. Okay.
It hasn't been white people, who's made our communities unsafe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's not white people. They're not the reason why kids have to be escorted to school through their own neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
White people aren't selling the drugs in our community. White people aren't killing us in our community,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, we talk about, that kid who was shot in the park
Mm-hmm.
by the police officer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm sure that, black people for a long time, we've had a monopoly on killing our kids in parks
Mm-hmm.
and killing our people in their own homes.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when that police officer went out the back, pointed the gun in the window and didn't even give her an opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
just shot her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is wrong. That is wrong. We need to address that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you can't say, well, that's white people. That they're always doing it. Because it's the white man. But if a black person breaks into our house, which is much more likely,
Mm-hmm.
living in the neighborhood that we live in,
Mm-hmm.
right? If a black person comes in, and if a black person breaks into your house, or a black person shoots you
Mm-hmm.
in the park, where are we then?
Right. Like I mentioned, I
Because
think
that
in
has
the,
been the apparition.
right. Because I think I mentioned in the last episode that oppression, coming from white people, right?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel, any better when we perpetrate those kind of things on ourselves.
Well, we wouldn't
know?
say that that's us doing it to
Right.
ourselves.
And so,
We see the black person coming into our house and black people killing themselves, killing each other
mm-hmm.
in the park as a symptom of white domination.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
As, we wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for this and what they've done to the family,
Right.
and what they've done to, manhood in the
Mm-hmm.
black community. If it wasn't for them,
Right.
So even when we do things,
Mm-hmm.
it's their fault,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, it's not that racism isn't real.
Right.
It's not that white people are blameless.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, it's you.
Right. And I think we've talked about that in what I like to say, we're not properly responding. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's what, we're not doing. The answer is not for us to respond the way that has been promoted, I'll say. And I think that Amos Wilson hints on this. I know definitely Elijah Muhammad, hints on this as well. We understand, at least I would say that I understand where the anger comes from. I understand that. But I also understand that we have to look at what we have done in this time that we have been under this kind of duress. And what I would say is that we have to make it inexcusable to kill our children. We have to make it inexcusable, for women to, for domestic violence and all that. Those things need to be inexcusable. It can't be, under this, it makes it, likely, X, Y, no.
Mm-hmm.
No. We can't do that anymore. And I don't know, at what point, when you think about it, was it ever excusable? And I think it's the term that Amos Wilson calls rationalizing. And he said, rationalizing is what cowards do. We have to own our errors. And it was a point that, that you talked about, and I'm like, I get that wholeheartedly, is that, we don't have to engage the way that other folk engage. We don't have to do that. And, just because they are doing things, it doesn't mean that we have to follow suit and then excuse you with, well, white people do it too.
Oh, they're doing good to us.
What? Have a line you want to put it.
Yeah.
And that's really where I am through all of my emotional outbursts and frustrations or whatever. I am at the point to where, I want better of us. I expect better of us, and maybe that's going to always be a downfall, is that I do have expectations, and with expectations, will come whatever.
For me, is that you can't have it both ways. You can't have it as, oh, it's what we do, it's how we respond, and the white devil.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't have it both ways. Who is it? Right? Is it you or is it the white devil? Right? See, if it's you, then there's no longer a white devil.
Correct.
Right? You can't say that, oh, the white man is the enemy and be about trying to create something new. Evidently you don't want freedom if you're trying to trap people in a war. Evidently you're not about the business of creating something if all you ever talk about is destruction. Right? But it's destruction of the enemy. It's going after them. What are you saying? I am so sick and tired of this conversation. I am so sick of us. Because when we look around at the refuse that we are living in, you cannot tell me that, oh, that's white people. When you are there, living in it, and have all the ability to clean it up.
Right.
Right? It won't make the world right. It won't make what they do right.
Right.
It won't correct the system, but it will clean up the trash. And I guarantee
the thing is that do what you can do, right? So what is it that we can do, right? We don't have to be in the kind of squalor that we are in. We don't have to do that. Okay? We don't have to, treat ourselves the way that we treat ourselves. We don't have to do that. It's the small things. I know we are always looking for the big blow. It's the thing that I talk about with David and Goliath, right? Is that you know you have David, he's small, and then you have Goliath, the big giant, right? And the great part of the story is that that he takes this slingshot and this small rock and boop, hits him in the head and knocks
Perfect spot.
Yeah, perfect spot and knocks the big giant over. Ooh, victory, right? But I've always contended that the weakest part on Goliath was actually at his feet. His ankles. I know we always want to go for the big shot. And even coming out of this, we're thinking it's going to take the big shot. Something, catastrophic.
Magnanimous.
Some ray out the sky that's going to beam into us to make us move. And it's literally just you doing those small things that you need to be doing. We talk about the educational system. How is the school system is the prison, the pipe, the school prison pipeline, whatever the case may be. And but you don't have to send your children there.
And for me, it's like, we're not in the Bible. You're not David.
Right.
They're not Goliath.
I get that.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is
this
that
is not a war. This is not a battle.
Right.
For me, that's what
No.
drives me up a wall.
Right.
Is that what it takes? Illusions to victory?
I hope not. I don't want it to.
Yeah.
But I'm talking to folk who who resonate with those kinds of things.
See,
I know that already.
Why?
Because I think I have to address folks where they are, right? Do I not have to do that? To a certain, and so, if that's, look.
I understand
right.
about addressing people where they are.
Right.
Right? I get that.
Right.
But how are they ever, at
Yes.
least for our purposes, how are they ever going to get to be where we see they ought to be?
Right. And I look at it
If-
as you learn to chop down a tree by simply chopping down a tree. You just go and chop down a tree. There is I get all of that. There is no apprenticeship, to it.
We're not. There's no adversary. It's you. Stop telling me about the white man. Stop telling me about Goliath. Stop telling me about we had in order to do this, it's not going to take all of it. But we're still trying to get to the same point, and it's like we're not. The whole point of it is that we're not going that way. You're not chopping down trees. You're not fighting Goliath. You are in the real world with real people,
Right.
with groups who are just people. There is no monolith.
Right.
There is no enemy. All there is you and what you do. How are you going to correct this, the world we are living in? Right? Address the problem.
You address the problem by addressing your actions and the things that you do.
Yeah. But police brutality is real. You're
Yes.
telling me that, that all I need to do is just make sure I drive safe and that's going to get rid of police? No.
No.
I'm saying that we need to know, what is it we're fighting against? Let's clear the air for a moment.
Right.
Right? Because so far, all we've talked about is how we are to change our approach. Right? Change our approach to Afrocentricity, power, faith, and all these things. Change our approach. But now I think it's about time we get to the point of where are we going?
Right.
Where are we going?
Right.
Because if we change our
Our approach.
perception, right, change our perception of it just to beat the white man, then you're not changing your perception. You know?
Right.
Because it's not about them.
Right.
It's not about defeating them. There's no war. This is a society. This is civilization. Okay? Everything else is an interruption. I'm not saying that it's not real or that we don't have to deal with it. But it's not the white man. It's oppression. It's injustice. Right? And then you say, well, the white men are perpetrating these things. Well, no, they're not. Or a better way, I guess, to satisfy people, it would be, so are you. They're perpetrating it. You're perpetrating it. Everyone who is living in this world and not trying to do something about it is perpetrating it. Whether it is consensual or non-consensual. That's what it is. I don't know what it is like to not have my own name, to not to be able to say the things that I want to say. Right? White oppression, has never taken that form. I've never, I don't know what it's like to be a slave. I don't know what it's like to not be able to vote. To have to step off the sidewalk for when a white man comes.
You never had to deal with Jim Crow and all of that. Yes.
I don't. Right. I've never had to deal with that. What I've had to deal with is, shootings outside my house. And drive-bys and mistaken identities. And drugs and futility. Just that overall sense of futility. That's what I've had to deal with throughout my life. And it doesn't matter if you come to me and say, well, these things are only there because of the white man. And it's like, I don't see it. I don't see it when it's you. When you get final say in your action. I don't see how we can say it's the white man when you are living in the neighborhood. I don't get it. And it infuriates me every single time, like, we try to have a conversation about these things, that, it always boils down to, well, white people. And how are we going to deal with them? What about them? What about they did, doing this and all this stuff? And it's like, I don't think you are about, you're not walking my way. You're not walking my way. And not to say that you need to be walking my way, but you're not. We are on two different wavelengths. Because when I say we need to get rid of oppression, we want to be free. Afrocentricity is a road to freedom to me. It is, a road for self-actualization, for a black person to know what it means to be black, and to have that with them. And when I look back at what we've done on what it means to be black, it's what it means to be black is what it means to be human. Our societies, what we do is what concerns me. You got white people, and yes, racism is real. Police brutality is real. These things are real, and they need to be addressed. I understand that. I understand that. But if you think that addressing racism and addressing police brutality, like, okay, if the police didn't murder us, like just beat us,
Right.
and all that stuff.
Right.
Would that make the system right?
No.
If racism
Right.
went away, and you got paid just as much as the white dude, even though if he like I got a college degree, I got a PhD, I should be making more than this white person who doesn't have all this. I'm overqualified for this job. I shouldn't be making less. If so you're telling me if they paid you accordingly, then the oppression would disappear.
No, we know that's not the case. We
Right.
know that's not the case, right?
If you could catch a cab, right, that'll make it right.
Right.
If the police, didn't pull you over, for nothing, would that make it right? Would that make it right? If you're saying yes, then this part of the conversation is for you.
Right. Correct. Correct.
Because you already know what you got to do.
Right.
It's already done.
Right.
Right? If you want, your reparation, you want your money for, for the work of your ancestors. If that's what you want, right, then I don't think you are about the business of freedom. You don't want to be free. You don't want to be free. You just want to be positioned better
Right.
under this. Right?
Right.
And it's the white man who's stopping you from being positioned better under this.
Right.
And you know what? You're right.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes, right.
Yeah. Because for you to be positioned better out of this, that means they have to give up a bit of their position.
Right.
And they don't want to give up their position.
Right.
So they need to keep you here.
Right.
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 So if you want to be positioned better under this, then go about your business.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And even then, you don't need a fort and, AK-47s and armed guerrilla resistance to even do that.
Right.
Right? You don't even need all that.
Right.
But, we know what you want at the end of the day. It's the
Right.
same thing they want.
Right.
Right? Because if they want to maintain their position, you don't need police brutality.
Right.
You don't need racism. You don't need to do all these things. But we know what's going on. So,
Right.
hey, right? Pay them back in kind. Get your position.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
If that's what you want. And I think that's what we want. That must be. If every single time it's the white devil and it's the white man and it's them, it's what they're doing. You just want to be able to come home and feel safe.
Right.
Right? And I remember I told you before that people don't care about being free. We just care about being safe.
Right.
And the reason that all of this is happening, that all the protests are happening, is not because we don't feel free. It's because we don't feel safe.
Right.
Right? So if they were to just stop making us feel unsafe, then, well, that'll alleviate everything else.
Right.
Right?
But we know that's not the case. That's never. No, that's not.
That doesn't make oppression go away.
Right.
It just makes it affect you a little less.
Right.
Right? It doesn't make it right. It doesn't stop the war. It doesn't stop the cycle that breeds this type of behavior.
Right.
It doesn't stop those things. It just makes it
A little
more
bit
comfortable for you.
Right.
Right? And that's the whole thing about blaming the white man. It's comfortable. It's easy. Because they're right there. And you can't say that racism isn't real.
Right.
And everything, so boom.
Right.
I'm not going that way. Because I actually care about, trying to do something that can solve this.
Right.
I don't want oppression. Okay? I don't care about being positioned better under this. I don't want to be comfortable.
Right.
Right? At the same time, I don't want to be killed by a police officer. Yeah.
Right.
But if you take that away, I still won't be comfortable.
Right.
Because there's something wrong here.
Right.
There's something wrong here. I don't want to be comfortable. Because to be comfortable makes it easier to forget.
Yes.
That's why we're having the problems we are now. After
Right.
World War II, you slip into the warm, comfy boot of the 50s. And it just made it easy to forget everything that people had to go through.
Right.
And that all that darkness all that, evil, all those terrible things, they were still there.
Mm-hmm.
That it all sprouted up in the 70s and the 80s and the
Mm-hmm.
90s, all the way to today.
Right.
Right? But you had a brief period of reprise
Mm-hmm.
where simplicity and normalcy was bliss.
Mm-hmm.
And you had your white picket fences,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But that didn't
Alleviate
alleviate the
right.
pain.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good word.
Mhm.
I'm glad you said it. It didn't alleviate anything. It didn't
Mhm.
take anything away.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was just there. But the world was in a better place. Society was in a better place to deal with that weight.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mhm.
It
And
didn't
so here
come
we
back
are.
on you
Right.
the way it's coming back on you now.
Right. So here we are.
So here we are.
Not. So now we're at. What is it that we should do?
Mhm.
And what I would say is that I'm gonna go back. We should do what we should have always been
Mhm.
doing. And I know that there are folk who are going to hear the both of us and think that we're crazy.
Mhm.
That
We're cowards.
yeah, that anyone who tells me that I should not fight the white man is not a friend of mine.
Yeah.
That type of thing. What I am saying is that we should be the people to solve our problems. And sometimes that takes us stepping back and really accounting for the things that we should be doing.
And being able to recognize, well, what is the problem?
Right. And so, if we say that oppression is wrong,
Mhm.
then it's wrong in all facets.
Well,
if
I don't
we
know if
say,
we're saying that.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
whole other thing.
Mhm.
If we say that slavery is wrong,
Mhm.
then don't come at me with, this, like slavery in Libya and all these places,
Mhm.
like right now because
Yeah.
of the things that are going on,
Yeah.
and excusing it.
Mhm.
I'm not hearing that.
Yeah.
And so that's what I say. We have to come. We have to come to our own realization that we have to be able to say that this is wrong or that this is right. That there isn't.
We have to choose.
Yes.
What is it that we want?
One. Mm-hmm.
Do we want to be free,
Right.
or do we want to be safe?
Right. Or do we want, how many times, this has been talked about extensively, do we want to just simply position ourselves better under this? And one of the things I mentioned one time before is that, we like to say that, well, not like to, but it's that, we're descendant of slaves, right?
Mhm.
And what has happened to the slave here and how terrible it was.
Yeah.
Then, then all of a sudden, we built this country as if we were some immigrants who got shafted in the deal.
Mm-hmm.
Which one is it?
Yeah.
Are you the people who were wronged, okay, and
We're forced.
who were forced to be here?
Yeah.
Or are you the people who just got the short end of the deal, and now the reckoning is and you want to be paid, or whatever the
Yeah.
case may be, for getting shafted 100 years ago, 50 years ago, or whatever the case may be? Who are you?
Mhm.
Because if you have made the choice that you have the folk who have been shafted in the deal,
Mhm.
then get ready to be shafted in this deal. You will. That's what it's going
And
to
be
come.
ready
Yeah, and be ready
do
Yeah.
what it is you have to
To
do
do
to get what's owed to you.
to you. Or what you
Mhm.
because you're you're the immigrant that that got chapped in the deal.
Yeah.
But I've contended many a times that for folk who have been wronged by this, you're not supposed to get anything out. Because you were wrong.
Well, were we?
Well,
evidently not.
Evidently not. If we're looking for,
were we stolen or were we sold off?
Yes. Which one is it?
Mm-hmm.
And then we want to have these, well, not all of us. See, I tell you about them definitely, see, there you go. So now it's you that have to make the choice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So if it's not all of us and all this, you need to handle your business then.
Yeah.
And stop. Look, do what you need to do then.
Mm-hmm.
But if you feel as if, once you take a step back and I'm not going to use the word appreciate, but it's a sobering acknowledgement of what has occurred.
Mm-hmm. What has been occurring.
Occurring, yes. Then you can move anyway to get out of this loop. And so I want us to do something differently because I feel as if these conclusions that we are drawing is leading us to the exact same place where we have said, where you say that you don't want to be.
Yeah.
And I know that when you have, I'm going to say dedicated, 10, 15, 20, 30, whatever your case, of your research and life and, whatever the case may be, and you think it has come to this,
mm-hmm.
It's hard for folk to, I'm going to say to make another turn. It's hard.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where I have to leave you at the point where you don't want to turn. I don't want to leave you there. But if you're so headstrong on the idea that it's either or and those type of things, then that's not, Afrocentricity is not, it's not war, it's not the either or, it's not.
Well, is it? Is it not?
Well,
I guess it is.
Yeah, because
but it's that and this. Like we said, it's whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
So you just have to ask yourself,
mm-hmm.
What is it that you want? Right?
How is it that we become free?
How is it that we become free?
Uh-huh.
Well, you're already free.
Yeah, I know. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how is it that, you're already free?
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that too many of us think that we aren't free. Too many of us think that we are not free. That we can't,
Well, what are we then, if we're not free?
Well, it's the word that folks like to throw around today that I absolutely hate, which is the slave term. Like, like you're just a wage slaver, you're a slave to debt, slave to this, that type of stuff. And I'm like, say, bro, the answer is no. You have no idea, no clue whatsoever about a slave.
Yeah.
And I hate how we use that term. I hate how we use that term so loosely today to describe our inaction,
mm-hmm.
to describe our collective cowardice, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And so it goes back to what they are doing, that type of thing. So.
Well, what do you want?
So what do you want?
What do you want? Evidently, you don't want to be free.
Well, you don't want the responsibility that comes along with that.
Yeah.
That's what it is more so.
Well, that's why you don't take responsibility because you don't want to be free.
Right.
You don't care about freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said,
You just want to be safe.
there's
you
a
wanna be
reason
comforted.
why everything that is happening today is still happening in the form that it's happening. And I say that, capitalism and modern day society is the perfect distillation of every empire and every society we have ever created. It has been refined to this. And if you know how America was created, then you know that that's not good.
Right.
This was created to be an experiment, something new, right? Something new. And here we are in the same existential crisis, in the same place, asking ourselves, what's next?
Right.
What do we do? How do we become free? Right? And it's like, well, you do what you say. You do something new.
Right.
You do something else. Right? Do something else. For the love of God. I don't understand.
But the thing is that we
If
have to
you-
understand that we're going to have to continue because, like, life does not stop,
Yeah.
right? So I don't know if we fully understood that, like, we know that life goes on. You understand me? But we think that
It goes on and on.
and on. But we think
Forever
it has
and always.
yes. But at every corner, right? You're going to come to a particular point where you have to do something else. We look at, those, we had dynasties that last, thousands of years and this and that and this and that, and so, we sort of,
As far as I'm concerned, they're still lasting.
yes, that's a whole nother, yes,
Because we're still living in it.
right.
We're still living in the
The thing is that
consequences of those actions.
The thing is that we have so long been thinking that if we simply just change the faces or whatever the case may be, that means that it's different. And I think now, folk are starting to realize that it's simply not about changing faces.
Or that change is impossible.
Right.
Change is impossible. Like I said, when you look back on everything we've done, and everything all people have done. Well, it's just this. It's this, but just a little aesthetically different.
Right.
A little quiet, a little safer. But it was this.
Right.
It was this. More people, someone getting more out of the deal than someone else, more territory, more land, right? Whatever, even
Yes.
before the white man ever came here.
Yeah. Right.
Native Americans want one people until the white man came.
Right.
But before then, it was Apache and Blackfoot and all them other people. All these people. All these, for us, the same people warring over the same land. Right? It never became their land until the white man came.
Right.
Then it's all of ours. See, we get to fight over this, not you. You can't fight over this.
Right.
Right? You don't get to fight. This is our land. And it's like, well, really? Because as far as you're concerned, maybe it wasn't, because you lost the fight.
Right.
That's how you drew up your borders in the first place. That's how you went about your business in the first place, right? Fight, but it was your fight.
That's right.
You got to do the fighting.
Right.
It was your thing. That made it better. That made it because it was for you.
Right.
Right. Well,
No.
what does it want you to do now?
Yeah. Because now
do
that's
you want
right.
your land back?
Right.
Right. You
Right.
want your land back in your hands so you can continue to do your fighting, or do you want to stop fighting?
Right.
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 Because at this point, it's like the white man doesn't owe you anything. You lost. You lost. Wasn't that the parameters?
Right.
When y'all first went about your business?
That's right.
You lost.
That's right.
So how can you say it's yours? You lost it.
Right.
You lost it. Right? We were forced off our land.
That's right.
Whether it was because we were stolen or we were sold. How can Africa still be ours? We lost. We lost. Is it ours now? It's still ours? Or they owe us? They owe us? They owe the losers.
Right. That's how that's going.
That's what you want.
Yeah, right.
You want to tax the white man because you lost.
Right.
You wasn't about your business. That's how you drew up the lines in the first place.
Right.
Right. You were fighting.
Right.
You had your wars. You had your battles.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's how it went. But then somebody came who had superior armors.
Right.
Who had superior weapons, superior tactics, and took it all from you.
Right.
Right. Now you're old.
Right. How
You're
dare
old.
You? Right. How
You
dare
lost.
Right. You lost.
You lost.
Right.
Right. So that's why you want to fight, so you can win again.
Right.
Right.
Stop.
Because you want to win.
Right.
We can win it back. We can win it back.
Right.
Maybe it was never yours. If you were fighting over it for your entire year, maybe it never yours. Right?
Yeah, because it was yours. It's not anything to be. Well,
there's no dispute to be
right.
had.
It's
It's
right.
yours.
Right. Right.
Right. But you want people then. It was easy, for the Yoruba and the Abami and the for all
Igbo,
and the Igbo, for all y'all to be different people. Right. It was easy when it was just y'all.
Right.
But then the white man came.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And he wasn't after Abame land.
Right.
He wasn't after Igbo land. He was after
all
of it.
the right.
All that land.
That's right.
That belonged to these primitives who don't know how to develop it.
Right.
Right? But we say no. We knew what we were doing. Well, were we?
Right.
Did we?
Right.
Right, because now we're creating our cities and they tend to look like European cities.
Yeah.
Or maybe we didn't know how to develop it. Since we need to build our downtown complexes and need to, create all this. Maybe we didn't know what we were doing. Maybe we didn't.
Yeah, we're actually holding on to borders that.
Yeah, that they were. So maybe they did have a good idea about this whole empire thing, right?
Right.
So what you mad about?
Right.
What you mad about?
Well, I just told you. That's because we ain't in charge. Okay, fine. All right. So now you got folk who look like you.
Yeah.
All throughout the continent, by the way,
Yeah.
and even in the Caribbean, they all look like you. And now you're talking about neo-colonialism.
Yeah.
Right.
The fight keeps
Yeah.
going.
Yes.
What do you want?
Yeah.
What do you want?
Oh, they're not working. These African leaders. They're not working in the best interest of their people. Well, okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Is that what you expect from empires?
Right.
When,
You expected empire
to work for the
That's
people?
right. No.
I'm sorry.
No, that's not how
When
it
has
goes.
that ever happened? Ever in history? Ever?
Right.
When has that ever been the case?
Right.
Right. Oh, it is working. It's working for the people. It's meant to work for.
That's right.
Right.
Right. And if you say that you don't like this, that's what you say.
Oh well.
Well, no.
You don't like this. You don't like that they're benefiting
from it.
more than you do.
Right.
But I'm sure if you got into a position where you were able to reap the benefits, well then
Yeah. Well, it'll be okay.
Your opinions would change.
Would change. Like my people say, get y'all $10,000 pay raise, y'all out the struggle just out of it just that quick. And so that's the kind of.
So what is it? How can Africa be ours? We lost it. Ours is Native American land. They lost it. Right? They lost it. What is ours then? Right? Is Africa still ours now? Oh, it's still ours? We lost it. We lost.
But you know what's yours? You know what's yours? You. More than any land, drum, book.
This is not your army.
Right.
That connects you to your land.
Right.
What is it then?
What is it then?
Your skin. Your culture. Your blood. Your being. That's what makes it. Right? And you take that with you wherever you go. So what do you need? You need land. Right? You need land. If it's already with you, well, evidently not. If you need land. Right? What do you want?
Right.
What do you want? Like I said, I'm so sick and tired of this. Do you want to kill a white man? Right? It's not that complicated.
I mean, I've been saying since forever. We've always had the space and opportunity to do that. Always, at every point, at every juncture, we've had the space and opportunity to do that. So, well, why haven't you? And then the thing is that, you'll tell me about the mentality. You'll tell me about goons and whoever the case may be. No.
Well, why did the Nazis, go about being Nazis? Why did they open concentration camps? And anti-Semitism was always around. You always talk about what you were going to do.
Right.
Right? But it wasn't until Hitler
Mm-hmm.
and his SS.
Right.
They came along and then said,
And
okay,
gave
now,
you right. And gave you.
now you got to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Then it became less about killing the Jews and more about doing your duty.
Right.
Right. Because I remember when we talked before,
Mm-hmm.
we said that if you have to kill someone, right? If you right,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to cut someone
Mm-hmm.
and stab them
Mm-hmm.
and bring them pain,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's really hard for a normal, regular person to do,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you're a surgeon, right,
Mm-hmm.
and you need to do surgery,
Mm-hmm.
where you cut someone open and cause them pain, and
Mm-hmm.
then they don't live, they die in the end.
Mm-hmm.
You don't say the surgeon murdered that person,
Right.
right? He was trying to save his life,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Now you're trying to create a nation. You're
Right.
trying to get your land back,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's not really murder.
Mm-hmm.
Not at that point,
Right.
right? It's easier to bear at that time. See, you're not just cutting and stabbing and everything.
Mhm.
You're doing surgery.
Right. Right.
doing surgery.
Right.
And you look at all the blood of your weight,
Mm-hmm.
of your operation.
Mm-hmm.
You got your land back.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Go ahead on.
Mm-hmm.
Do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what you're going to do.
Right.
It won't be yours for long. Soon
Yes.
some other people,
Who are
some
stronger.
other organization,
Right.
some other cut, some
Uh-huh.
other divide. You're the abomination. The evil's coming.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
it's, aren't you tired of this?
Mm-hmm.
Aren't you sick of this?
Mm-hmm.
Are you? God, I don't think you are.
Mm-hmm.
If you have to keep saying it, keep coming back to this, I mean,
Right.
hey, baby, you're not.
Right.
I am.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired of this. I'm tired of looking back at history and seeing the same thing happen
And
over
over and
and
over
over
again.
and over again. We get to a point and we say, well, this is all we're capable of. No, we're
No,
not.
no, we're not.
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
We can do better.
Yes.
We can do better.
Mm-hmm.
If you do it,
Yes.
we can.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to do it. And you have to say that it's not going to be this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That it's not a battle.
Mm-hmm.
That maybe that land wasn't really for us.
Mm-hmm.
If it could be taken that way that easily.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, I remember mentioning some time before is, well, how strong are you? How strong is your culture?
Mhm.
Where these, I'm going to call them small things, to come in and interrupt it
Mhm.
at
In a moment.
any moment. And you don't know how to immune yourself from these things that are going to come. And I think for the longest time with us that maybe we thought that nothing was going to come. Because, we were just doing our own little thing.
When it always came in the form we could deal with.
That too. And so now we're at this place where we think we have no options. And I always say, well, there's always an option. There's always another way.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage to step back.
And I understand.
Mm-hmm.
I understand how hard it is. Like I
Mhm.
said, I get sleep paralysis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And for those who don't know what sleep paralysis is, it's when your mind wakes up before your body does.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can't move.
Mm-hmm.
And you're stuck in like this pseudo dream state.
Right.
Right? So you're semi-conscious and you're seeing these things.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it's terrifying because you can't move.
Mm-hmm.
And everything's moving around you and you can't do anything.
Right.
And you're seeing shapes and these black figures. And you feel like something is pulling you down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like it's pulling and pulling and pulling. So you're holding on.
Mm-hmm.
Because you are certain that if you get pulled down,
Right.
that's it.
Mm-hmm.
That you're going to die.
Yes. Yeah.
If this thing pulls you back down, then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you fight, and you fight, and you fight, and you fight to stay up. To stay up, to not get pulled down.
Right.
And even though it is terrible and it's horrifying and it feels hard, and you're seeing these things you can't understand that are frightening you, you're still holding on because you're alive.
Yes.
Right? Because you're alive. And you only know to hold on.
Right.
Because you are convinced that in that blackness, there's no coming back.
Right.
And I've been to that place. Right? And I remember I told you, you know what happens if you let go? The same thing that happens if you hold on. You wake up.
That's right.
But when you hold on, right, you get jolted. Right back into reality. Right? Your heart's pounding, your blood's pumping, and that fear is still there. Right? But when you let go, you just wake up. You just wake up. And so you have to choose. Right? I know, like for us, most people, you know, they find themselves in that same position. Right? And they're holding on. They're holding on because they know if they let go, they're dead.
Right.
They're dead. And here we go. Telling you, no, you're not going to die. Just let go.
Just let go.
Just let go. Right? Easier said than done. Like I told you, I don't let go every single time.
Right.
When I find myself in that position, it's 50-50, really.
Right.
You know,
and I have my moments
there, and you feel it. You know, I don't have the strength to make a decision every single time. I want to, but I don't. And so I know, you know, that it will be hypocritical of me to expect that type of strength from everyone when not even I really have it.
Right.
But that doesn't change the fact that you need to let go.
That's right.
And that at some point you are going to wake up, but you need to choose how you're going to wake up. Are you going to come screaming into life, barreling into reality, afraid and desperate? Or are you just going to open your eyes and breathe? You have to choose.
Right.
Yeah, if you let go, you're going to die. Because that person who was holding on will not be the person who wakes up. Will not be the person who wakes up. But maybe that's what you need. Maybe you need to be something else now.
Yeah.
Maybe it needs to be something else now. It doesn't have to be this way.
You have to answer. You have to answer your call. And I know, for me, like I said, you know, it happened some years ago. You know, when I was literally like I said, you all weren't in the house at the time, and I was just frustrated and crying, and it's like when you wake up from that kind of slumber, I'll say, you have moments when you wish that you could just go back to sleep and go back and you know, because it's so, you're so frustrated, you get frustrated at times, you get angry and those type of things, you know. And I have more days now when I'll say wake up and let go. But that's my work. You know, I have more of those days. I do, you know, like I guess you could say yesterday or whatever the case may be, I had my moment of frustration, you know. But for the most part now, when I hear us talk in absolutes, it falls on deaf ears to me now. I don't respond the way that I used to respond. I don't. You know, even in all of my frustration, I know that something is wrong with that. And so I don't respond to that. I want us, at least I know for me, I know what I want from me. And so that's where my focus lies. You know, I knew that I could not continue this way. Because continuing the way that we have been going, it is to our death. We're not we are not going to get what we think that we're going to get. But the thing is that I've come to realize is that with some of you all, that's exactly what you want. You want, you want your revenge. You want your turn.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you want. Because that's what you keep telling yourself. And so every time you look in there, you feel as if I don't.
So you just hold on.
You hold on.
And you think that at some moment it's going to come. At some
And like
moment.
I said, now you're out here, you're looking for smoke signal signs,
Mm-hmm.
or a particular vibration to come from a sun or whatever the case may be to move you in this way. And that's not what it is. That's not. And so it's more work for you to do your work than for you to do,
Look,
that.
it's all of it
Mm-hmm.
is just trying to understand.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to understand what the world is.
Mm-hmm.
And I get frustrated with my people, especially in having this conversation again and again, because the group is the individual, and the individual is just a group.
Mm-hmm.
So my people is me.
Mm-hmm.
We are all intrinsically connected.
Right.
And it doesn't matter where I go, who I become, what I try to do, that connection will always be there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want it to go. Even if I could just
Right.
get rid of it, I wouldn't want to.
Right.
Because that's who I am.
Right.
It's a part of the link of who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to get that up.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want this
Right.
anymore. I want us to learn.
Mm-hmm.
I want us, in the most simplistic of terms, I want us to grow up.
Yeah.
Grow up.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I hear about something,
Right.
some terrible thing
Mm-hmm.
out in the world, all I hear is grow up. Grow up. Why are you doing this?
Right.
Grow up. Stop it.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, you have to be the adult. You
That's right.
have to be the adult.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are we going to do?
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to be grown-ups? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's always us. Why we?
That's right. Well, I've talked about
why,
this.
Why got to be us?
Well,
we're always the ones
Right.
who have to take up that weight, who have to take up that back, who have to be the grown-ups,
That's right.
who have to forgive,
That's
and
right.
all that stuff. And look, I'm not telling you to forgive.
Yes, that's definitely
Right?
no, right.
Like, I remember I said
we said right.
in the second episode that it's not our right to
Forgive. That's right.
We can't forgive. We are literally incapable of it.
That's right.
Because the crimes for which you want to be forgiven are not the crimes you've perpetrated against me. The people who can forgive you are long gone.
Right. We owe you nothing.
Yeah.
And when it comes to that.
Yeah. So
Yes.
it's not about forgiveness.
Yes, that's
It's about stopping the fight.
Mm-hmm.
This fight that we have been having since the dawn of civilization.
Mm-hmm.
Since the very beginning of people,
Mm-hmm.
it's been this struggle of who we are,
Mm-hmm.
the battle for humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to set the measure?
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to be God? Is it going to be us? Is it going to be nature?
Right.
Is it going to be the animals, the
Right.
fire, the
right.
sun,
Right. Right.
the pyramids?
Right.
Is that going to be it?
Mm-hmm.
The Sphinx? What's it going to be?
Mm-hmm.
What's going to be that thing that tells us? Is it going to be the aliens?
Right.
What's it going to be?
Right.
That tells us
Right.
who we
Yeah.
are. You've been fighting.
Mm-hmm.
You've been fighting this feudal battle.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is nothing.
That's right.
Nothing
Mm-hmm.
in the whole wide universe
Right.
that is going to be able to do that for you.
That's it.
Who are you? Who are you?
That's right. Mm-hmm.
That's the only person who's going to be able to answer that question. And nothing's going to be able to give that to you. Not defeating the white man, not going to Mars, finding the aliens, finding the Emerald Tablet that gives you the universal Panchia that unlocks your third chakra that allows you to become an immortal God-paying dimensional being. Nothing.
That's right.
is going to give that to
To
you.
you. That's right.
It's just going to be
Be
you.
you.
It's just going to be you.
Yes, and I know that might be a little hard for folk to come to grasp with.
Mm-hmm. That's probably
But
why it's so.
That's right. That's why that.
It's probably why it's so easy.
That's
Because
why-
it's so hard.
Yes.
It's so
Mm-hmm.
simple to tell you that freedom, you were born with it.
Mm-hmm.
These chains, you were born with it.
Mm-hmm.
It only becomes something once you make it so.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And you make it so.
Yeah.
You make it so whether you want to or not.
Mm-hmm.
But it only becomes something for you once you make it for you.
Mm-hmm.
But it will be made.
Yes.
It will be made. Is it going to connect you to your job, to the
Right.
stock market, to the bills that you have to pay? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it going to connect you to that?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it going to connect you to yourself?
Yeah.
To who you are? To
For
the
so
person who can
long.
save?
For so long, we have looked outside.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is this over there, that,
Mhm.
whatever the case may be. But at no time we ever thought, well, not at no time, but at no time, I guess, we have not truly looked within to solve the problem. Because we feel like if the problem's out there, then we got to solve it out there.
And
Right?
if we look inside, it's only to connect us to outside.
Yeah.
If we look inside, it's trying to connect us to God or
Right.
to that universal
Universal,
ocean
yeah.
of consciousness that dwells inside of the individual is never enough,
Right.
right?
It always
can never
will be,
it's never
right.
enough to be just you.
You. Right.
It always has to be some grand notion, some
I just said it. Yeah. We're up with
huge
this.
thing, yeah.
Right.
It always has to be that.
Yeah.
Like you're never enough.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all you
Yes.
got.
Yeah.
That's all you got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's all you will ever have.
Yep.
Anything else, like I said, is the interruption.
Yep.
It's a distraction,
Mhm.
the illusion. All you will ever have in life is you.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to choose.
Yeah.
Are you going to live with other people? Are you?
Mhm.
Well, how are you going to do that?
Right.
In what way?
Mm-hmm.
You have to choose.
Right.
You know?
And for a lot of this, if we say, in which we, that, folk have made decisions for us, it doesn't have to be that way. See, that's
Yeah.
the thing. See, it doesn't have to be that.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be that way. So, when are you going to make your decision for you?
Mm-hmm.
Since, everybody else is making, when are you going to make your decision for you? When are you going to step back and, take inventory?
And just accept
Yeah.
that it's you.
Yeah.
When is that going to happen?
Yeah, well, once you acknowledge it, then you are responsible for it.
You'll be shocked.
Oh, yeah.
Once you acknowledge it,
Yeah.
it's real easy to go back to ignoring.
Well, that's true.
You
Well-
just want to go back to sleep.
I told you,
Yeah.
but that's the thing, though.
That sleep will never be the same.
That's right. Never.
Mhm.
You'll try to fake it's not.
Because at that
That's
point, it's
yeah,
you.
it's you.
Now you're putting yourself to sleep.
Mm-hmm. Now
Which-
you're lying.
You're wearing that mask.
That's right. You're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's not they are putting it. No, it's you now.
Mhm.
And like I said, once you acknowledge it, then you're responsible for it.
Mhm.
The conditions that we are in. It's once you acknowledge that, then it's you that has to come out of it.
Mm-hmm.
You. If you're sick, right?
Uh-huh.
I don't know. Diabetes, heart attack. I don't know what it is. You have some sickness, right? And the doctor tells you, okay, you can't eat meat. So you can't eat meat anymore. You have to do
Change your
all
diet,
the
as long as that.
but it's you that has to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get up and exercise. You. Now you can ignore that you have this sickness, and then you could keep doing what you're doing because it feels better, whatever case may be. And then it's
You wanna
like,
go out on your terms.
yeah, because I'm living my best life or whatever the case may be.
I'm gonna eat what I
Yeah, I
want
want
to,
to eat what
very
I'm
young.
gonna do what I want to do, and then, oh, he died so young.
Well,
Well, but
that's the price.
that's yeah. Understand here, it's gonna cost you regardless.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to cost.
Because in my to get back to my metaphor earlier,
Mhm.
you can hold on
Mhm.
and still die,
Yes.
but
Yes.
you won't become what you want. But you won't become what you want
Right.
at that point.
Right.
You have to let it go.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, who is it that you should become? That's the people who that's who you need to be.
Mhm.
That's who you need to be.
That's what your faith
Mhm.
drives you toward. That's
Mhm.
what your power comes from. That's
Mhm.
what Afrocentricity is about.
That's right.
So, in conclusion,
Mhm.
white people are here. Racism is here.
Yes.
Oppression is here.
Mm-hmm.
But the white man is not the enemy. Right? The white man is not the antithesis to human nature. They're a part of it. Just as much as anything else.
Yeah.
In all their forms. There's no monolith.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the white man. It's people.
Mm-hmm.
It's people. And it can only change as much as you change.
Mm-hmm.
And it can only become as strong as you allow it to be.
Mm-hmm.
There is no enemy. There is no war.
Mm-hmm.
No battle. No grand gesture.
Mm-hmm.
All it is you and what you do.
That's right.
Do you want to keep fighting? Or do you want to do something else?
Right. Focus.
Focus.
And maybe we're gonna really delve into Cabral's resistance and decolonization, because I told you that's the thing that really just it opened up a lot for me, and in particular how focused he was, and how the things that he did to get independence for two African nations.
Mm-hmm.
And he was so focused on what is it that we are battling here.
Mm-hmm.
And his focus it gave him such a clarity on what it is that he was dealing with. And I think what has happened with us is that we don't have a clear vision. We're just
we
all
have
over
a clear
the
vision. We know what we want.
Well, we say that we want.
We want to be safe.
Right.
We want to be safe.
Yeah, but if you want to be free,
Mm-hmm.
you are free.
Yeah.
And understand that it comes with a responsibility.
Yeah. That's what freedom is.
That's what it is.
Responsibility.
Right. And the day that you decide that you want to, give that to someone else to do, to make you safe or whatever, then, well, we know how that goes.
Yeah.
And it's for so long, that's what it has been.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's up to us. It's up to you.
Mm-hmm. That's what that says.
Yeah. To change.
To say that that's not what you want.
Want. But you have
And
to
we
say
hope.
it. Yeah.
That's not what you
To
want.
want. Mm-hmm.
We're taking that for granted. That is not what you want. Because that's not what we want.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But if you want to keep fighting, if you want your land back,
Mm-hmm.
then you know what you have to do.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
we don't have
We
to
need
have
to
a
have this
discussion.
conversation.
Right.
That's the point of talking.
Right.
Right?
You know
that.
exactly what you need to do.
But at that, you can't say you want to be free then.
Mm-hmm.
If you want a war, you don't want peace.
Right. And you
It's
know
as simple
exactly
as that.
what you need to do in order to engage that way. You know what you need to do.
Yeah. But like I said, you can't be about the business of peace,
Mm-hmm.
right? And unity and all those grand ideals,
Mm-hmm.
and be about war as well. That's not how it happens. There's no enemy. There's no battle.
Mm-hmm.
Just people.
Mm-hmm.
People and the things they do.
Mm-hmm.
You are a part of that just as much as they are.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it's easy for us to say that, they're in the same boat with us.
Right.
right? But it's hard for us to say that we're in the same boat with them.
Mm-hmm.
We're all in the same boat. And what's plaguing us has been plaguing humanity, all
Yes.
of us,
Mm-hmm.
ever since the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And if we want to get out of this repetition,
Mm-hmm.
then it's going to take people.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take you.
Yes.
You. You know, so that's the tenor of this conversation.
Right.
That's the pretext.
Mm-hmm.
No enemies, no wars, no battles. It's you.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
It's you, your actions,
Mm-hmm.
your responsibility. It's you.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, it's not like these things aren't real.
Right.
But you have to choose, bro.
Right. You have to choose. You. How
The
you.
symptom
Yes.
or the cause.
Mm-hmm.
You want to fight symptoms or you want to get to the cause?
Right. I mean, because you can wipe your nose and still have the cold.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we've been doing.
Yeah.
We've been wiping our nose. And every which way.
Mm-hmm.
And we're thinking, we have to have.
This must be making us
yes,
better.
yes, because we keep wiping our nose.
Yeah.
But now we have to deal with the cause,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to deal with it. Honestly,
Our way.
Yes.
We have to deal with it our way.
Mm-hmm.
How black people do it.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, being black means being human.
Mm-hmm.
Being anything in this world means being human.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to understand what that means for you.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So we need to do this our way. Nothing outside of us is going to give the European answers. Do not solve African questions.
That's right.
And this is a question of the ages.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want?
What do you want?
You have to ask that and answer for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what we want.
Right.
What do you?
Mm-hmm.
We would like to hear what that is.
Yes.
Like we said, we would like to hear you out.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because this, I got pretty angry in this. I always get, especially
Well,
when it comes to this one.
Yeah.
Because like I said, it gets tiring and
Mm-hmm.
frustrating to keep going over this.
Mm-hmm.
But
And this is a conversation that we have a lot. And for me, like, I always come full circle with it. And I think that has a lot to do with, there's a lot of unlearning that I have to do.
it's a lot of unlearning that we both have to do.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
So,
So,
we would like to hear you out. What are your opinions on this?
yeah, just
Just
give us a holler.
yeah.
Put it in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully you enjoyed this and
Yeah.
learned something, and maybe we piqued the interest. And
Yeah.
so just hear us out.
Hear us out, and we'll see you next time.
Time.
Hopefully with something a bit more constructive than this.